So, welcome to Bozeman, blah, blah, blah. 3 airplane rides is not a lot of fun, because Bozeman, honestly, is not an easy place to get to. I know because I have to fly out of here every so often. And like I told your CEO, your brand new one, I'm not leaving. I won't leave Bozeman right now because my mom is dying. My mom's on her last mile. We all get to go to the cemeteries. We see Jacqueline Carey Lair, born March 1st, 1930. Dash. My mom's at the end of her dash. How long she has left, I won't leave Bozeman until she's completed the dash. And I put her in the ground. So that's why. But Joe Lair is a speaker who delivers an unforgettable message. Both of his parents, Dr. Jess Lair and Jackie Lair, were professional writers and public speakers. Joe likes to joke that he's just following in the old family tradition. How many know that song? Hank Williams Jr.
Why are you drink?
Yeah. Joe is a published writer, and he has stories that are in the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. The Wisdom of Dads, Fisherman's Soul, Tough Times for Tough People, and I've even been published into the 101 Best Stories of Chicken Soup for the Soul before they sold their book rights to the new people. So I was in the original Chicken Soup for the Soul. I've written 2 books, part of one which was incorporated into a graduate level book for graduate students in learning disabilities and working in special education field. Part of my book that I wrote was incorporated into that graduate level textbook. I invite each of us to live life head on, finding the path of that you can thrive, not just survive and face difficult circumstances. Change is what it's all about. You all know that. It's not the change in your pocket. My life seemed to be going nowhere, trapped in addiction with a severe learning disability that kept me isolated and alone. It seemed that I would always just drift and barely survive. Instead, my life has become a beautiful story filled with meaning, love, and triumph. Although life continues to hand me challenges that seem insurmountable at times, my love for my God, my family, and my life grows stronger every day. Usually, when people think of public speaking, they think of the cool stuff, the keynotes, where you're up on the platform with a mic, sometimes a podium, and a big stage. Honestly, most of my stuff that I do for public speaking is right here, in these kind of rooms with people similar to you. I've had to be hired as the hatchet man. I've been the one that said, you know what, some of y'all aren't leaving this table employed. And unfortunately, for some of y'all that are sitting at this table, that might be a possibility for you. And that's what this weekend's all about. Like I said in that letter, we want to find the solutions. I sent you all back after most of y'all sent me back what your personality profile came out to be. You sent me back yours. Well, mine is INFP. And if some of you did do the Google search, you know there's a Star Wars character that rhymes with all of your personality profiles. I'll pass that around for you because I couldn't make a good copy of this. So unfortunately, just got to kind of be the one that you're going to see. But I'm Luke Skywalker. And how many of y'all have seen all of the Star Wars movies? I mean all of them. Because Luke Skywalker started out on that desert planet, a scrappy little dude. And I started out just like that, just like you are. There are parts of you in your personality that are that scrappy little dude. Okay, now at the last Star Wars, not the Rogue One, but the last Star Wars, we saw Luke being met up on top of a cliff, and he's old. He's withered. His lightsaber is still there. But we don't know his story yet. But we got a pretty good idea, don't we, what's going to be happening. There's a ship out in the ocean, cruising along, and they see another light farther out. And they said, you know what? We need you out there, that light. We need you to change your course 10 degrees to the north. A couple of minutes, the voice comes back on the radio and says, no, we need you, ship, change your course 10 degrees to the south. A battle happens. Change your course, change your course, change your course. The guy went down and said, Captain, this guy's not listening. You gotta get up on the ship and tell him that he needs to change his course. The captain gets on the phone and says, dude, I am the captain of this ship. I need you to change your course 10 degrees to the north. And the answer back is, man, I'm the shipman. And I said, no, you guys need to change your course 10 degrees to the south. And the captain gets back and says, listen, I'm a battleship. We will blow you out of the water. Change your course. You know what the reply back was? How many of y'all know this? We're a lighthouse. It's a funny story. Makes a really good point, doesn't it? Such a good point that as I was preparing to meet you all here, I had to spend time with myself getting ready to meet you all here. And a large part of what I do is by myself. I'm an introvert. My best ideas, unfortunately, come with alone time. But I have a group of friends, trusted, valued, trusted friends that I bounce my ideas off of before I do some things that I do. I have to leave here after you guys get done with me this weekend and go back to my advanced Toastmasters Club next Wednesday. Because I kicked a hornet's nest on purpose. I honestly did it on purpose. And I may have kicked that hornet's nest too hard. Because sometimes when you kick the hornet's nest, I also like to use the analogy of, pardon me for using it, but it's like if you kick a bag of poo, what happens when you kick a bag of poo? You get some on you. So I may have kicked too hard. And I'm paying a price for it. And I need to check with my friends and make sure that what I was planning on doing, when I planned to do what I did, was correct. Just like that captain was telling that other light, we need you go 10 degrees to the north. He believed he was right. How many times have you got on this idea that you have in your head that you, honest to God, you know it, like you know it. It's the correct idea. And then, son of a buck, it's wrong. Have you ever had that problem? I love the quote, if you argue for your limitations, they're yours. How many of those limitations are in your head, in your body, intrinsically involved in who you are, your kinetic makeup? How many of those problems are there? And you still do it. How many people know what the argument for insanity is? Well, you hear it.
Doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results.
You know what? That's not right. That's the one that everybody believes. And you know why? Because it's comfortable. Now, you ready for something to be disruptive? I believe insanity is knowing what you're doing is wrong. Doing it anyway. That's true insanity. You know it's wrong. You know what's going to happen, and you do it anyway. That is true insanity. How many of y'all done that? Yeah. How many of you have been in a car and someone cuts you off and give them the finger and follow them for 4 miles? How many of you have been in the shopping cart line and counted the people's items in front of you knowing that they have too many?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we face day after day after day after day, is those same things. And that's what we got to work out here. That's when we talked about when I put solutions in all caps. Because either we find the solutions to the problems that are facing, because you guys got bought out for a reason. You all are the department's heads. You're here for a reason. And that reason is, if you want to keep your job, you're going to have to change. You're going to have a brand new CEO. You're going to have a brand new HR department. You're going to have a brand new policies, procedures, manual. You're going to have a brand new guidelines. And you know what? You're not going to like it. I can promise you that now. I've never been to a meeting like this yet where everybody's happy. There's always somebody that says no. My favorite thing from TV, how many people know there's a TV show called Stargate that was on for like 11 seasons? Yeah. How many people know?
Star Wars freaking.
Yeah, Star Wars and Stargate. Yeah, huh? So, Colonel Jack O'Neill, right? On a planet. Got the whole planet's population right there in front of him. If you guys, he says, go, you guys follow me through the Stargate, you're gonna live. Let's go. And the little guy in the crowd goes, no, we can't go. And the Colonel goes, oh, there's always one. And there is. Like I said earlier, if you argue for your limitations, you're welcome. They're yours. Because things are changing for you. And it's uncomfortable. It's not a lot of fun. My favorite poster I used to have on my wall was a Raggedy Ann doll going through a ringer. And then underneath it said, the truth will set you free. But first, it's going to make you miserable. If we are willing to deal with what's wrong inside of us and get through that uneasiness, that not funness, that, oh man, I got to change again, there is freedom in that. I can promise you that. Because I know this CEO. I've worked with him off and on for 20 years. He's hired me for off and on for 20 years. My dad worked for him. I worked with my dad with him. And now I work for him alone, now that my dad has passed on. He's a good guy. It's a good company. You're gonna make a lot of money. It's worth it. But are you willing to go through what you need to go through to get to the other side? What's some of the instructions you found in your own personality profile? Did you guys even explore those after you looked at them or not?
Yeah.
Anybody want to say it?
I did.
What'd you find?
It was confirming what I
Confirm?
thought about myself. Yeah.
Yeah. How about somebody else? What I like to do is always go look at like, okay, what's my negatives? And let me tell you one of my negatives. We'll finish up with this. My kids all grew up here, or grown, they're in their early 20s now. When they were in their elementary school, I was with them. We went to Emily Dickinson. Emily Dickinson principal was an old friend of my dad's. He was one of the first people that was, they didn't know what learning disabilities were back then. They just knew that Joe was a rockhead. That's all they knew. Just didn't learn right, didn't learn correct, didn't get it, didn't make sense to him. But Dean Michelson got hired by my dad to help me. Dean Michelson ended up being the principal of Emily Dickinson School. I'd bring my kids to school. I got to park where I wanted to park. I took my kids in, paraded them through the hallways, dropped them off at their each individual class, and went back out. Robbie Hamburg took Dean Michelson's place. I pull up into that same parking lot, parked the same place, took my kids out, dropped them off, and I drove over the cones as I left. Because they were annoying me. Came back, happened just to come back and pick up my kids after school. Parked my car, got out, left the car running because it was, as in a hurry, didn't want to leave it to shut off. Got my kids, and as I was walking with my kids out the door, my 3 kids are in tow, Robbie Hamburg, who I had yet to meet, found me and was telling me, you know what, you can't park there anymore. I said, but I park there all the time. I understand, but you can't park there anymore. Didn't you see the cones? Well, yeah, but I always park there. I need you not to park there. And I gave her a blow off like you wouldn't believe. You know the old Goomba? You know, don't you know who I am? I am Joe Lair. This is my parking spot. This is my kid's school. I pay taxes. I don't care that you're the principal. Put my kids in the car. Robbie just walks away shaking her head. I look in the rearview mirror of my car and I see my kids' faces. and I knew I was wrong. I knew it. I could have driven away and drove the cones again. Instead, I shut my car off. I got my 3 kids unbuckled. I took them back into school, and I found Ravi Hamburg, the principal. And I said, my name's Joe Lair. Who are you? And then Robbie introduced herself. And she said, I'm the new principal. And I said, ma'am, I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have been that disrespectful. I should not have done what I did, and I will not do it again. And if you need anything from me, please just ask me. He said, but why are your kids here? I said, ma'am, I dissed you, I embarrassed you, I was mean to you in front of my children, and I need my children to see me make the apology. Because I still today make mistakes. And if I make a mistake with my kids in tow in public, I need my kids to see me with them in tow making that apology in public. Because I was stupid. I was wrong. And that's not correct. How many times have you been willing within a couple of minutes to make that amend to your employees? Because you all have employees. You have people working underneath you. You are the department heads. You're the ones that set the bar. And I need you willing to take that bar up 3 or 4 pegs. You're willing, if you make a mistake, to make that mistake known publicly, if you make it publicly. If you make it private, that's up to you. I understand private mistakes. You know, it's like, how many of y'all would like me to read your browser history? That'd be a little embarrassing. But that happens. In a public business, that happens. So if you're willing to do that, we got lots of things to work on, because I have been hired to follow you for the next 6 months. We will be meeting once a month for 6 months. You guys, unfortunately, have to come back until my mom dies. I don't know how long she has. She has dementia. And unfortunately with dementia, one day she's gonna either have her heart not willing to beat anymore, or her lungs not willing to take in breath. That's what happens with dementia. So until my mom passes, y'all are coming here, because I won't leave until my mom dies. And I've been asked, believe me, lots of times to leave, but not until my mom passes. So thank you once again for the willingness to come to Bozeman, Montana. It's going to be a hard weekend, but we have some fun times ahead of us, because I promise you, we're going to laugh. We're going to have fun, and we're going to get to know each other. And that's a good thing. A really good thing. Enjoy yourselves while you're here.